All right, let's move on to some modifiers. We're gonna install another package, so go ahead and open your terminal once more. Let's npm install styled components. There's an S on components. I've messed this up multiple times. Modifiers, okay? So styled component modifiers are going to allow you to pass in an array of different modifiers on our components and say, hey, I want this to be a small button. I want this to be a big button. So very much like this. You can pass it just a simple string that says, I want this to be a success button, or you can pass it in an array. So this is what we're installing right now. So once that installs, let's go into our button file again. We're going to import apply style modifiers from styled components modifiers. Now we're going to actually create a constant that tells styled components what kind of modifiers we want to have. So const button modifiers. So we're going to have a small button. And we're also going to have a large button. And these are going to be modifiers that we just can pass in. So what I want is to be able to, let me get rid of these disabled. What I ideally want is to be able to come in here and say modifiers. I want this to be a small primary button. Or this has to be in curly brackets because it's a JSX expression. I want this to be a large button. Okay? So this is what we want. So let's actually go build that. So if it's a small button, I want to set the font size to typescale.helper text. So it's going to be 0.9 or 0.8 rem. Why is this yelling at me? Oh, I put opening and curly brackets here. We don't want that. This is not JavaScript. This is styled components. So we're going to use backticks. So it has to have backticks here instead of open and close brackets, just like that. And I'm going to set padding here to 8 pixels. I remember I had that diagram in our design part of this, and I said, well, you know, padding on a small button, 8 pixels sounds good. For large, we're going to do font size. We're going to do type scale. I'm going to give it an H5. You can give it whatever you'd like. And I'm going to give this padding of 16 pixels, 24 pixels. So 16 top and bottom and 24 left and right. So we haven't used this yet. So what we need to do is for each of our 3 buttons, primary, secondary, and tertiary, we're going to come down here, do our $ curly brackets, and we're going to say apply style modifiers. Call the function and pass it our modifiers, button modifiers. Okay, we're going to do this on all 3. Does anyone know why we're applying it to all 3 as opposed to the top level? If we were to apply that up here on our button, all of these are inheriting from button. It would actually be overridden, probably, by a lot of the individual styling on here. So we want to make sure that any modifiers are the last CSS to be applied so that they are shown. And now we go back to our UI, we can see we've got a small primary button, a big secondary button, and a tertiary button.